What did you expect? This is a question that you must ask and answer multiple times a day as you engage your purpose, encounter people, and experience problems. What did you expect? Expectations are the key to how you experience what is happening in your life. Early in my career, I developed a concept I call the expectation equation. If you have a high expectation and you get a high outcome, that equals satisfaction. If you expect to make $100 and you make $100, you're satisfied. If you have a high expectation and you get a higher outcome, that equals surprise. If you expect to make $100 and you make $200, you're surprised. $100 worth of surprise. If you have a high expectation and you get a lower outcome, that equals disappointment. If you expect to make $200 and you only make $100, you're disappointed by $100. You may be struggling right now, and it's not simply because of what happened to you. It's because of what you expected to happen for you. Maybe you were raised to believe that if you go to college, get a good education, you'll get a great job, make great money, have great relationships, and experience a great life. In reality, you have a good education, whether it's formal or not. You have a good job to make some money, you have some good relationships, you have a good life, but it's not the life you expected, so now you're disappointed. What used to be a great job now leaves many being underemployed based on their lifestyle and the rising cost of living. When you got married, you expected your wife to cook every night, but as a working mother, she can only cook 2 to 3 times a week. You expected your husband to know what you needed, but you assumed if he loved you, then you wouldn't have to say it. So you never told him, and he can't read your mind. You expected your children to understand the decisions they were making and the consequences associated with them, but their understanding is not at your level. You expected your friend or your boss or your pastor or you fill in the blank to be perfect, but they proved to be human like everyone else. You're not really mad, you're just disappointed. Maybe you're not really jealous, you're just disappointed. You may not actually be depressed, you may just be disappointed. Charles Swindoll is credited with saying life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react. I'm not telling you to lower your expectations, but I am encouraging you to manage them. Manage your expectations so that you're satisfied or surprised more than you're disappointed. You can't always control your outcomes, but you can control your expectations. Maybe your boss just had a bad day and they don't know how to develop others. Maybe your spouse can cook, but they need your help with meal planning and grocery shopping. Maybe your children aren't as wise as you think they are, and they need to make some mistakes to gain that wisdom. Maybe you need to add to your education in a more practical way that helps you gain more marketable skills. Maybe life isn't what you thought it would be, but it's actually better than it is for most. What did you expect? You expected life to be better, but God has given you an opportunity to get better by setting realistic expectations, developing an attitude of gratitude, and seeing today as a gift to do both. I'm Corey Tabor, the Purpose Partner, informing, instructing, and inspiring you to fulfill your purpose.